Hey, we're live, Leo. You ready? Hey, everybody out there. Madman Joe, Lucky Leo here. We're back with the Drunken Cockatoo. Today we got a special show today. It's all about Cuba today. I have been there, Leo has not, but we both have stories that we're going to share. And an added bonus, we're going to cook a Cuban dish that I was very fond of when I was over in Cuba. We got arroz con pollo, which means nice. Chicken with rice. And of course, the Cubans always cook it with a congri rice, which is a white and a brown rice mix. But we're going to do a little something special today because I am very much in love with yellow rice. So we're going to do it with yellow rice and make it a little different. And I do have one secret ingredient that's going to make it unique to our show. So anyway, here we go. What I'm going to do now, I got it cooking a little bit here, is I'm going to go ahead and add some oil. Cuban cigars we had flown in illegally just for the show here. We're going to put a little bit of oil in here. Yeah, that table's leaning to the right. I can see that now. And we're going to put some oil in there. Got a little olive oil. Let's let that get hot here for a few minutes. So, Leo, tell me about your experiences in Cuba. You've never been to Cuba. Tell me about your experiences.
No, I've always wanted to go to Cuba. It's one of those destinations on my bucket list. I did have an opportunity to live in Miami for a little while. My brother lives there. My best friend's down there. So when I was living in Miami, I did, as you know, from Miami, I mean, you get immersed into Cuban culture.
You have to,
right?
There, yeah.
And it's a beautiful culture, beautiful heritage that they have. I'm sure it's a beautiful country that they come from, but
yeah,
you know, there's so many Cubans down there. You get a Cuban mojito to drink on. There's a lot of Cuban food, like a Cuban sandwich is big down there. So really, you know, got to enjoy some of the culture. I was actually invited to what they call like a Cuban Noche Buena.
Yeah, that's like a Christmas thing, right?
It's like Christmas Eve. Yeah, so it's like a family tradition, Cuban tradition. They all get together and they actually roast a full live pork, like a big pig.
A pig, yeah.
Yeah, and they do like a pig roast, and everybody, you know, usually the head of the family gets the ears of the pig. That's like very sought after.
That and the nose.
That's the nose and the ears. So I'd never, you know, seen that, and I probably had, you know, enough scotch to
rum. You're at a Cuban party. Sorry, no scotch there. It had to be rum. Right?
But yeah, they make the beautiful rum mojitos, and yeah, Noche Buena. It's just an excellent time. You know, food, fun, family.
Let me interrupt you for a second. I'll tell you a really interesting story. You know, as you know, I was born and raised in Miami, and I bought a boat, and you know, as everybody already knows, and I sailed to Cuba. And I remember after the trip, we had a hellacious trip coming in the Florida Straits, and I remember I saw land, and I said, man, as soon as I get on shore, I'm going to go and I'm going to get me a real Cuban sandwich, because I grew up in Miami where we always had the Cuban sandwiches. Everybody always boasted they had the best one. And I said, I'm going to see the best one when I get into Cuba. And I remember when I got off the boat, I went right to the first restaurant I walked into, and I said, give me a Cuban sandwich. And they looked at me like probably a Chinese person would look at you if you went to China and ordered egg foo young. Like, what the hell, you know? I didn't know it was an American creation. So they... you know, they have the closest thing they have is called a medianoche, which just means midnight. It's like a ham and cheese sandwich without the dark roasted pork on it, you know. But anything else happened down there with the Cubans with you in Miami?
Down there, you know, I one time had a chance to go to a beautiful Cuban wedding, and let me tell you, the dancing, the music, wonderful. I mean, those Cubans, they can definitely move on the dance floor. So
let me add some green peppers while we're talking.
All right.
Oh yeah, or chop me some of them red peppers.
I got you.
I'm gonna need a little bit more of that. Well, anyway, you know, as you know, I was. I'm gonna put some of these red peppers in here too. As you know already, I sailed the boat over to Cuba. I was sponsored by Jimmy Buffett and a couple of other people, you know, and a couple other businesses and stuff. And we took off on a beautiful day. Leo, we were down there, and it was just a beautiful day, and we were so green as sailors. I just bought a boat from a friend, and I outfitted it, and you know, we thought, hell, we sailed all the way from Dunedin, Clearwater, all the way down to Cuba, so down to Key West. So we thought we were champion sailors already. Boy, did we find out different. The Florida Straits is notorious for being a really, really super dangerous place, and we went. And it took us, I think, 26 hours from the time we left on Cuba, like at 8 o'clock in the morning. And it was this beautiful, picturesque day in Key West. And we took off, and man, 1 o'clock in the morning, the wind was howling. I thought we were gonna die. I had my dogs on the boat. I had my first mate go down and put the life preservers. We couldn't even switch positions. I had to lash myself to the helm. We were in 17, 18-foot seas with that rogue wave. You know, the rogue wave is every like 9th or 10th wave it comes in, and it's bigger than the other ones. And they would actually come and go wash through the boat. And I actually had a harness on, and I was strapped to the helm. Otherwise, it would have taken you right out. You know, that's why sailboats are like a cork. You know,
goodness.
They're like a cork. And so, you know, 18 hours of that. And we sailed through, and then I remember we came into the Malo Paso. We come right into Varadero, Cuba. And we pulled in the marina. And the customs comes on, and they go through the boat real briefly and see if you're, you know, make sure you don't have drugs and all that kind of stuff. Check your passport.
Right.
And then they don't mark your passport if you're American because it was illegal for us to go. And they, you know, so they keep you, you know, on the down low. And they brought us into the marina when we got cleared that, and they had this woman named Carmen, and they said she made the best mojitos in all of Cuba. And I had, you know, mojitos hadn't made it to America at this point, you know. And man, she made them with a sugar and the mint leaves. And man, it was unbelievable, you know. So anyway, let me tend to this for a second. Tyne, I had some onions. You got some of that stuff cut up there?
What you need, some onions?
Yeah, let's throw it all in there.
All right.
Give me everything you got cut in there. Let me get that stirred up. So anyway, getting back to the story here. The Cuban people over there were super.
Oh, they're so friendly.
Super friendly, especially over there in Cuba. It's like they were a lot more friendly than most of the people that, you know, like the Cubans that we know in Miami, of course, you know, the American, we don't want to add that yet. You know, when you got to America, everybody was so friendly. Everybody depended on everybody over there. And we got around, we partied with the people and all that kind of stuff. And they would bring us to their houses. And then, you know, they worked for like everything. No, but there's no private enterprise.
Nice,
everything's,
I know what you mean.
Everything's government.
Yeah.
So they would invite you to their house, and they used to have these weird lobster traps that looked like wooden pallets. And they didn't, you know, a lobster is like a sea cockroach. It eats, you know, the dung of fish, you know, crap. And most of them won't eat it. They use it for bait to catch these little tiny fish off of the rocks with hand lines. So you give them $10, and they would go and they give you all the beer you want, and they would all the lobsters you'd want to eat. And if they'd sell you Cuban cigars, and if you wanted one, they would go in their backyard and dig them up because it was government owned. They wouldn't get caught, so they'd actually dig them.
Gotcha.
And one day, me and my Jim, who was my first mate, we were walking through Cuba. We were touring down towards Havana way. And I had a camera, and I'm taking pictures of everything. And we got down in Havana, and I was taking pictures of these buildings, these old buildings. And I didn't know that you weren't supposed to take pictures of government buildings. So we're walking through Havana. Let me add this garlic while we're talking here. It's about time for that. So we're walking through this. We're walking, and I'm taking pictures, and all of a sudden, this cop car, or they're called frontier guards. They're the police are, and they come in, they push us in the back of this car, and they take us down to this place, a little jail holding cell, and it didn't even have a concrete floor. It was a dirt floor, and they had a bucket to pee in the corner. And we were in there, and I told my first mate, I said, man, I hope that, you know, we couldn't speak English enough with them to figure out what the hell was going on. We didn't even know why we were there. And so we're in that room for about 12 hours with the dirt floor. And I told my buddy, I said, hey, man, I said, you know, the arm of the United States can't reach over here. If they want to keep us forever, we're here forever.
Yep.
And we had my dogs back on the boat about 11 miles away. We had taken a taxi there. Anyway, so they finally bring a translator in. And what it was going on is the translator comes in and he says, you took pictures of government buildings, which you weren't supposed to do. And also, he said, somebody said you had a laser, a flashing laser, and they want to go in your bag. They wouldn't go in my bag until I gave them permission for some reason. And they said they want to make sure you don't have a gun. So I finally gave them permission, and they went in the bag, and I showed them how the camera flashes, and they were all relieved, and they let us go. And
nice.
We didn't have for some reason we didn't have money for the taxi to get back. And I remember we walked 11 miles back from that place back to the marina.
Boy.
And you know, the buses are going by, the cars are going by, and then we had just got there, and we found out much later that those buses are free. You know, it's like a communist country; nobody has money, so you just wave them down, and if somebody has an open seat in a car, they have to stop for you if you wave them. But we didn't know that. And we walked for 11 miles back to get the dogs, you know. All right. So now I think it's, hand me that chicken over there, will you, Leo?
All right.
Let me get this chicken going here. Give me, I need more than that. Oh yeah, I got some fresh season, some chicken. We got some good chicken here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at these over there. That last one. Do me a favor, will you chop that up a little bit better for me?
No problem.
Sir. So anyway, we partied. We had all kinds of people coming in and out of the marina from, you know, Florida. They would come and go, and we stayed for 3 months. And it was a blast. All we did at the marina all the time was just drink every day, you know, and hang out at the marina and go tour Havana and all that kind of stuff. And one day I'm sleeping. Thank you, sir. One day I'm sleeping, and there was a guy, a French guy. I called him Frog when I was there, and he was the kind of guy. He was the kind of guy that you could call, like if you were rich and you lived in London and you bought a boat out in the Bahamas, you know, a 65-foot sailboat, and you needed it brought to London. He would fly out, you'd pay him, and he'd fly it, and he'd sail it anywhere in the world. So I became friends with him, and he was a crazy guy, like you would expect somebody that does that for a living. And it was my birthday, January 30th, and I remember it was cold, and I was laying in the front of the sailboat, and I had the window, the up top window rocked back, and the wind was howling and it was cold, and you weren't allowed to move your boats at nighttime. You know, the little dinks that we have, they had to be on the deck, fastened down. I mean, they'd take your ass to jail.
Yeah.
And he's all drunk, the French guy, and I feel that somebody jumped up on my boat. He jumps up on my boat and he looks down and he goes, "Hey, you ugly American." He says, "It's your birthday, I'm taking you." And we had been drinking, and I got up, and you know, he had his little dink there, and we got to go across the Malapasso about a half a mile. And there was a place there, just a government-owned bar, and they were like old discotheques, and we're going to go over there, and they're called rumbas. All of them are called rumbas in Cuba.
Yeah.
And so I was drunk, he was drunk. We hopped in the damn boat, and we motored across that place, and we had a seawall you could barely grab, and I threw my crutches up, and I went up, and he went up, and we went to the rumbas bar, and it was a 2-level disco. They were still like in the disco back then.
Yeah.
And we're at disco, and the girls are, you know. You order a drink, you don't get a cocktail there. They put a whole bottle of Havana Club, black or brown, you know, rum, and you mix your own drinks. And ice is always in a shortage. All Latino countries, for some reason, they never have enough ice. And anyway, I'm on crutches, and I'm drinking, and I'm having such a good time. I'm out there doing disco dancing and shit on my crutches with all these senoritas. And finally, this one senorita, who was pretty drunk, she invited me to go outside with her. And I went outside, and I remember I looked, and I saw the boat at the Malapasso was gone, and I looked about, you know, a mile, and I could see that he had left me at this place. And then all of a sudden, the frontier guards, the police, they started. They saw me as they were walking down the road. We were out in front of the place, and they started running at me, and they were yelling at me Spanish to stop because I'm not supposed to be there. I'm on the marina. So I run my crutches, and I hop, and I jump in the water. Them coming behind me, I could see them coming behind me.
Goodness.
And I jump, and that's a scary thing in itself, right there. There's no fishing fleets, there's no fishing allowed in that area. So you imagine the sharks. It's called Malapasso, which means the bad pass.
Yeah.
And I jump in, and I got my crutches, and I swam like a quarter mile over to the boat, and then I was yelling for Frog, Frog, because these guys they got to walk down like about a half a mile. They're jogging, they got to go over the bridge and then come back up to this where the boats are.
To come get, yeah.
And so I'm yelling, and Frog, as drunk as he could be, and he sticks his head out the boat. He runs over this other boat, and he runs across the boat, and he pulls me out of the water. And we didn't know it was these really nice people that had sailed from Finland, and they had just painted their 70-foot boat, the top of it. And both of our footprints, you know, both the heads of my one. And anyway, we went back and we partied in the damn boat again and all that. And so the next morning, I'm awakened, you know, about 11 o'clock, I think it was. I'm awakened, and all these government guys from the Frontera guards, and they had a guy that was he had a yellow jumpsuit on. The Cubans, they called him the Amarillo Man, which means the yellow man. He's a serious, like FBI. And they asked me if I was in that boat. They asked me if I was in that boat that came over last night. And Milton Raoul, who was the dock master at the time, he whispered in my ear before he told me they were there to talk to me. And he stuck his head down in my boat, and he said, "Whatever you do, do not tell them you were on that boat." He says, "You won't see light of day for 3 months." So they brought me in the place. They brought me into an office at the marina, and I was in there for like 11 hours. They were interrogating me. And I would not break. I would not tell them. And so they searched my boat. They had these people come out, and they actually they had sonar, and they got underneath my boat to make sure like I didn't put any cocaine and fiberglass over it. And they tore my boat up for a couple hours and everything. And then they came in, they asked for permission. They brought my bags in, and they asked to search my bags. And I told them, yeah, you can search my bags. And, MapTech was one of my sponsors at the time. They came out on CD-ROM. I had the entire world, the oceans of the entire world on CD-ROM.
Okay, yeah,
which, was a few $1,000s back then. And they had given it to me because they were one of my sponsors. And these people found it, and they thought that I was a spy.
Oh my goodness!
And that Amarillo guy, he was such a braggart, and he was so macho. He reminded me of Captain Gray from my book. The King of Johnny Mangoes.
Johnny Mangoes.
You read that
That's
one?
correct.
I mean, this guy was a splitting image of Captain Gray. He was a blowhard braggart, but man, you had to be careful with him because anything he said, if he told him to cast you down into a dark hole, you were gone.
You're in trouble.
And so anyway, so they finally come back to me. And they asked me, they said, is it okay if we copy all these map texts of the ocean of the world? And then they were convinced that I was a spy. And so I gave them permission. Hold on, let me hold up on the story here because I got to get some of this rice in here. So I gave them permission, and they copied the whole world of that stuff. And man, that Amarillo guy that I told you, it was like Captain Gray from the King of Johnny Mangoes book. He was so proud, man. You would have thought that he busted James Bond, or something. He was convinced that I was a.
I know the type. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm adding rice to this now. And like I told everybody before, I like the yellow rice. I don't like the congri rice. It doesn't taste as good as the yellow rice does. The yellow rice, when you eat it, it makes you happy. The congri rice, you kind of feel like you're in a communist country. You're poor, you know what I mean? Like, I'm stuck with the congri. No, we're over here in America, so we're going to have some of this yellow rice instead. A little bit more here, and I can put that aside. So anyway, so I gave them the... I let them copy it, and they let me go. And I got to tell you, Leo, they watched me and watched me and watched me, and they always were watching me. They were still thinking I was a spy. And that guy Frog, the guy from France, he even started calling me 007, just as a joke. And I'd be like, he'd be drinking, and I'd be walking down the marina, and you could see those guys, some of the government guys be watching me, and he'd yell, "Hey!" He'd be drunk, and "Hey, there goes 007." I used to say, "Shut up, man, shut up." But anyway, we're just about done with this here. Let's let this simmer for a little bit. The last little thing that we got to do here, and here's the secret. This is my own thing. This is something that they don't do over in Cuba.
What's the secret ingredient here?
Pimentos. These are pimentos.
Pimentos.
Yeah, hand-cut pimentos. Now, you put that in there, and like I tell you all the time, you slap your mom away from the table if she comes to get this, I just hope my mom don't come to the table because she's been dead for a while, and I don't want to slap her away, but I think I might when you get this in your mouth. So anyway, I gave them I allowed them to do it, and so they would call me 007 and all that kind of stuff. And, James Bond, right?
Of course.
All the movies and everything.
Course.
What a lot of people don't know is James Bond really, I think he existed. He really did. And he had a brother named Fred. Did you ever hear about Fred Bond?
No, I did not.
Fred Bond is his brother, and he was a very inept spy. He never could make it.
He was a double agent too?
He tried to be, but he never had the chutzpah or whatever you want to call it like James did. But James tried to help him over the years, but he never got to be the spy that 007 was. In fact, to prove that 007 lived, James Bond, I obtained a film of Fred Bond and some of his exploits and how it actually ended, until the end for Fred Bond as far as him being a spy. So I'm going to let this simmer a little bit more.
Yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah, man. How you like the colors on that? Mm-hmm. So me and you and our audience out in cyber world, we're going to watch the true story of Fred Bond. It's a mini bio. We're going to watch it. And when we come back, this will be done, and we're going to taste this.
Wonderful.
And then we're going to have, in a little bit, we're going to have, believe it or not, he's going to mix a classical Cuban cocktail for us. But that's after we come back from this. We'll sample this. Anyway, everybody, Fred Bond, watch this, learn something. And all the time you went to those James Bond movies, they thought that they were fake, but they didn't know they was real. And we got Fred here to back it up. So you ready to see Fred Bond?
Perfect, let's roll
Fred
it.
Bond. I think they called him 000, 000, I think they
000?
called it. We'll be right back.
Hey, step right up. Come on, everybody. It's Fred Bond, the brother of James Bond. It's Bond. Fred Bond. Come on. You can't beat me at the shell game. Come on. Sir, would you like to try your chance against the brother of James Bond?
Are you really the brother of James Bond? I've heard about you, Fred Bond, right?
One and the same. 007's brother.
Well, I gotta tell you what, I certainly wouldn't try the shell game with your brother, but I'll give it a shot with what I've heard about you, so let's give it a shot. How much do you want to bet for the first one?
Let's go, let's start low, $20.
$20, that's it, you got it.
All right, keep your eye on it now. This can get crazy. What do you got?
You know, something tells me I'm gonna go with this one right here, Fred.
Nah.
Yeah, $20 right here, Freddy. Right here, Freddy. Thank you very much.
All right, hey, double or nothing, 40.
Double or nothing. Would you doing the shuffling? You got it. You
All
got
right,
it.
here we go.
I'm watching, Fred.
All right, don't get tricked here.
I'm gonna go with the same one this time, Fred. I think it's right there.
Nah.
That's 40 you owe me now, Fred.
Damn it.
That's Fred.
Nah.
Hey, that pays my month for the rent. I'm out of here, Fred.
Nah. Here's a big bet right here. All the marbles.
All the marbles. Plus my marbles, too. We'll do it all right now.
All right, here we go. Pay no attention to that loud bird in the background. All right, you ready? You locked in?
I'm ready this time. Let's do it,
Right.
Fred.
It's for all the marbles. It's my student loan payment. Here it is, right here.
All right, let's roll it.
All right, you ready?
One more time. Let's do it.
No way you got that one.
Freddy, I gotta tell you better find another job because you're no good at this.
Oh, God damn it.
Pay up, Fred.
It's my student loan money.
Pay up, Fred. Woo! I'm gonna go right over to the house of prostitution in the saloon in half a time. Thanks a lot, Fred. Let me know if you're out here doing it again. I'd like to come and play with you next time.
Well, as you can probably start to see already, Fred was not cut out to be a hustler. But that failure would not stop him. Oh no. Fred pushed on into the world of cloak and dagger, and in the next few years he had started a security business where he would protect your life and your property for a fee. Well, as you can probably figure out for yourself, this didn't go too smooth for Fred either. Although he did meet the love of his life through one particular job, that also didn't go so well for him. At the time, Fred knew that his brother was boinking a woman by the name of Pussy Galore, and just by chance, this new woman in his life had a very similar name. Take a look.
Hello and welcome to Fred Bond Security Services. I'm Bond. Fred Bond. What is it I can do for you, young lady?
Yes, my name is Pussy Non Grata, and I have a car that I need watched over. You see, there has been a couple of dishonest people who, I believe, have been scouting my car. They're driving up and down the neighborhood and plotting to steal it. Can you protect it for me? I certainly will be very glad to pay you.
I assure you that'll be no problem, Ms. Non Grata. It is Ms., isn't it? Here at Fred Bond Securities, we have an excellent reputation of guarding life and property with expertise we are currently developing. You'll not have a fear in the world for security of the car with Fred Bond here, because I, Fred Bond, brother of James, I'm going to watch it over personally.
So you watch it over personally, don't you? I was told that you were the only employee in this agency. That's the only reason I could actually afford your cheap rate.
Yes, you're correct, Pussy Non Grata. Oh, what I meant to say is I'm going to watch over your car with more effort than usual. You don't have anything to worry about.
Fine then. I'll be back in town tomorrow and I will pick up the car then. Would you like me to leave it out in the front where it is?
Yes, that would be excellent, Ms. Pussy. And don't you worry your pretty little head about anything. I will see you tomorrow when you return. Have fun.
Oh my God, what happened to you, Mr. Bond? You look horrible. And where the hell is my car?
Oh, Pussy, you were right. There were two guys scouting to steal your car, and late last night they walked up on me while I was taking a nap, and they made their move. But don't worry, I was there, and there was a terrible fight, and those guys nearly killed me. But don't you worry, Pussy, I contained the situation. All is well in the end.
All is well in the end? All is well in the end? If everything is well, where in the hell is my car?
Oh yeah, the car. Well, those bastards may have almost killed me, and they did indeed get away with your car in the end, but there's one thing that a common criminal can never do, and that's to get the better of a Bond. So don't you worry, Pussy. This situation is contained.
Wait a minute, sir. You're all beat up. Look at you. And my car is gone. How the hell is this situation contained? You tell me, okay?
I'll tell you how it's contained after the beating they gave me. Oh, it was a beating, I tell you. They gave me... Oh, I was still skillful enough to get up off the ground and get the plate number on your car as they drove away.
Well, as you can probably imagine, Fred Bond Securities did not last much longer after that, and several more blunders. But Fred and Pussy began dating shortly after. He lost her car to those thieves, and things were going smoothly for Fred and Pussy. But in the familiar tradition of Fred Bonds, the good things would soon be lost. You see, Fred Bond and Pussy Non Grata decided to get married, and they did have a wonderful wedding filled with pageantry, with even Fred's brother James standing in as best man. But the two lovers' wedding day would end in a loss of life tragedy when James Bond loaned one of his secret hideaways, stocked with all the booby traps for their honeymoon. Let's have a look.
This is some place that James gave us for our honeymoon. Do you remember hearing about where we're supposed to put in some code or something? It's a whole booby trap situation. I don't know. James is so special. He's got his codes and his secrets. Dude just needs to lighten up and chill.
Lighten up? Lighten up? You know, those codes, we need those codes. It's what's on the piece of paper. Where the hell is the piece of paper, Fred? Where is it? You know, this place is booby trapped. We don't find those codes, we're gonna be doomed. Fred, come on.
Codes, schmodes.
Oh, fuck.
Alright, we're back. So, man, What about that Fred, huh?
That is hilarious.
You know, they said he pretty much messed up everything he touched, man. But anyway, you know, when I was telling my story about the Amarillo man and all that, we talked a little bit about the King of Johnny Mangoes, which is a great book. It got 5 stars on the Amazon rating list.
Yeah, I was thinking, why don't you tell us a little bit about that there?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's about this guy that's he's an airline pilot, him and his buddy are, and they win all the greatest black marlin fishing tournaments around the world and everything. And they go to a bar. They won a $1 million prize for the 20th time in a row. And they live in Ozona, Florida, which is a little island town near where I live. And they stop in for a beer, and they just by chance the bar was having a local kingfish tournament, and the grand prize was only $2,000. But this guy, the world champion fishing guy that just won $1 million, he gets in an argument with this guy named Captain Gray, and he's blowing that nobody can beat him, and they just start getting in this childish argument. So this guy gets just bound and determined, this world champion, he's going to beat this guy at his own game. You know?
Okay,
And it turns into be one of the most hilarious stories. I mean, the guy rents an airplane, he tries to cheat everything. You know, the guy that wins them around the world, he can afford it.
Yeah.
And that's all I want to tell you, but I got to tell you, it's seriously one of the most funny and ironic endings on a book that you'll ever see. Everybody read it, loves it. You can get it on Amazon Books by just typing Joe Nolfo. And I have 4 books on there, but if you like fishing and you like the stories of the tropic and stuff like that, definitely get King of Johnny Mangoes. Now, one thing that I'm going to do before we taste this, Leo.
Johnny Mangoes, huh? So the name of the book is Johnny Mangoes?
Johnny Mangoes by Joe Nolfo. You can get it on Amazon Books.
Awesome.
But this is a must. This is sazon. And this is what the Cubans, they put this on everything but ice cream over there. Okay. So we can put some sazon in there, just perfect. And, you know, here's one of my personal favorites. I think this will help everything except for damn ice cream, too. In fact, I think that seasoned salt might be good on ice cream.
Yep.
Then I'm going to go ahead and just put a little bit more green, Christmassy stuff in here. Let's put a little bit of parsley in here, fresh ground. That's right. Yeah, we're going to put a little bit of Drunken Cockatoo emphasis on this Cuban dish.
Yeah,
I know it's
excited to try that.
You know, some of the Cubans have computers over there in Cuba, and they're going to see me putting paprika and seasoned salt and using yellow rice, and hell, they might put a hit out on my head, man. If you see anybody look like got a big beard and a cigar hanging around outside the studio, you let me know, because they'll be after me. All right, here we go. Leo, I'm going to put you, you're going to be our guinea pig. In fact, they might have heard that we were going to cook this with yellow rice, and this already might be poison, so let's give it a shot.
Don't say that now before I take a bite.
Well, that's why I want you to go ahead and try it before I try it, you know, because, hey, I'm in the #1 seat here. You're a second seat, so if anybody's going to have to go, it should be you and not me. So let's give it a shot, and let's give it a rating here on the Drunken Cockatoo.
All right. You ready to?
Yeah. Oh.
That's more flavorful than you would think.
That is unbelievable.
That's really
That yellow rice is a secret. I don't know if they have yellow rice in Cuba. You know, I never saw it the whole time I was over there. But, man, I give it plumes way up.
Plumes way up. That's really cool.
All right, we'll be right back.
Man.
Hi, it's me, Annlouise. I'm here today to present to you a drink from Cuba. It's actually called Cuba Libra, and it's really one of my favorite drinks. So here we go. Okay, so what we'll do is I got the rum, I got the Coke, and this beautiful glass, which I really like. Tastes good too, it's awesome. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put some ice in the glass. My hands are clean. And we'll take 1, a little slippery son of bitches, 2, and we'll do, this one sticks together, so I think that'll do it. And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna put the glass down, and we're gonna take this measuring cup, okay? Hey, I do, let's see, 1.5 shots. So we'll take the rum, shake it up? Nah, we'll forget the shaking. So we're gonna pour an ounce. That was a little less than an ounce, so we'll do a little bit more than a half in here. Voila, there you go. Put the rum back, put the cap on. We don't want it to go anywhere except staying in that bottle. And here we have the Coca-Cola. Must have Coca-Cola. I'm not gonna use the mixing drink for that. I'm just gonna pour it right in the glass. So let's see. I like it. Yeah, that should be good. If you need it stronger, you know what to do. So we'll put that down. And usually this drink, it calls for a lime, but this is not a lime. As you can see, it's a lemon. And I actually prefer lemons instead of limes. So, and that's actually all I had, but I prefer lemons. So we're gonna squeeze this little sucker in here. The more the merrier. At least that's what I think. Okay, there goes the lemon. And usually you have a little stir. I'm not gonna put my finger in it, so we're gonna just stir it up a little bit. It's shake it, not stir it. And you're gonna enjoy yourself. Cuba Libra, guys. Toast. Cheers. Enjoy.